Hello and welcome to our next episode of Coffee and Conversation, AI in Healthcare, Season 2. I'm Michal Urbanowicz, Senior Marketing Manager here at Informatica. And today with me is Lukasz Rzeczkowski, Founder and Chief Commercial Officer of LinkGevity. Hello, Lukasz. It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure being here. Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself in few lines?
Right. So I'm a second-time founder, and currently I'm a founder and chief commercial officer of LinkGevity, which is AI-enabled biotech focusing on solving multifactorial disease as we age. And I'm also an advisor to Informatica on the UK market.
Great, thank you. Short and sweet. And starting with our first question is, as I was looking through your extensive bio and your experience, you've had a transformative journey from banking to founding Trustedoctor, and also influenced by a personal cancer story. Could you share how your experience in the finance sector influenced your approach to solving healthcare challenges through digital solutions?
Yeah, it was an incredibly interesting journey, as you mentioned, because moving from finance to healthcare may not seem as a logical step. Yes, it was motivated by a real cancer story in a family of my co-founder. I actually had a similar experience myself in the family as well, and so we had a really big problem to solve. We wanted to connect cancer patients around the world with the best doctors possible to improve their chances of successful outcome. But coming back to your question, finance is really interesting because it's very fast-paced. So I was working in capital markets. I was a structured credit sales trader. So you're working in a very fast-paced environment, very results-driven. So I guess the first thing that I brought from finance to healthcare is that acumen to make sure that whatever I do, moves at the speed that I'm comfortable with. And also, I think this is a problem in healthcare as well, that we've got a lot of innovation, and we've got a lot of willingness to change the world, but maybe the pace is not there. So me working in a startup where the decision making was very, very quick and nimble, that was very comforting. So and my co-founder had a finance background as well. So that's first thing. Secondly, I think it has to be said that in order to make an idea, a venture work, you have to have it has to be financially viable. So that's another thing that straight away I noticed that maybe the differences between sectors, that in healthcare we obviously look at patient first, which obviously was our intention and our mission, but we also wanted to make sure that the numbers are stacking up, and also that we're building a viable business, because it's kind of interesting that when you pitch to investors and you say, well, we're trying to change the world of cancer patients, no one's going to say to you that it's a bad idea. But in order to make it work and to be sustainable, I think you have to have a disciplined approach, and you have to have so executing on, and again, this was a fundamental approach that I brought from finance. So I think these two things really stand out.
That's awesome. And always for me as a doctor, it is impressive that a person who is not having a medical background enters the healthcare world, the healthcare sector, with all its nuances. And as you said, rather taking things slowly and not moving so progressively with all the with all the new things, new technologies that are available on the market. And I think like the background, especially in the background in finance, gives this special thing, the special feature to the healthcare sector, and gives also this motivation to always to push, move things forward. And moving on in building Trustedoctor and then the further group, you've had first-hand experience in identifying the right payers in the healthcare ecosystem. What strategies or insights can you share about connecting innovative healthcare solutions with the right financial support and partnerships?
I think the first thing that has to be said, that finding the right payer is a holy grail of healthcare, I think, because the reason this is so important is because of the sell cycle is very, very long. It takes time to develop innovation in healthcare. So identifying the viable business model, who's going to pay for your product or services is paramount. So and I'm going to be very candid that it took us a long time to do that, although we were testing different models and we pivoted quite a bit. So that was very good. But and finally, for us, finding the right payer was the insurance sector, and it took us some time. But yeah, it's very important. The sooner you get to that moment, the more chances of success. Because again, healthcare is very impactful, but very, very difficult to scale, and and it really matters who pays for the products and services. Patients usually don't underwrite healthcare. It's usually your government, so your kind of NHS type, or your insurance, employers, or pharma. So again, you have to choose your payer carefully in order to make it sustainable. And I think in terms of the insights, I think another big thing for me was not to be afraid of strategic partnerships. And I guess for us, merging with Further, creating Further Group was a big testament to that. We recognized that we had an incredible opportunity of building a very unique business where we took our digital health ecosystem of doctors and patients around the world, and also the technology platform, and we've embedded it onto insurance product, if you like. And equally Further, the company that we merged, initially they were our clients. So we worked together, and we realizing that there is so much synergy between the two companies, we ought to be together. So essentially today, the way the group is perceived is actually we're providing digitally enabled cancer insurance or critical illness, if you like, for global treatment, where cancer is the biggest part. So essentially, Trustedoctor became a infrastructure for creating digital products, for execution, also for claims. So I think so that's the big insight for me. And another thing that is interesting is which is very hard at the early stage is again, it comes back to that discipline on choosing a payer. Sometimes you just have to say no. And I think we had situations where we were approached by doctors or hospitals where we were asked to maybe build additional module to our platform, or we were enticed by a contract to divert from our core proposition. And when you early stage, you kind of take everything that comes your way because the nature of the beast. But I think sometimes you just have to say no. So for us, the big learning was and actually the module that we were building was in clinical trial kind of data management. And as much as we were doing this, we could have done this really well. This wasn't a core of our mission, a core of our proposition, and eventually we had to say no.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing this story. And now refocusing our conversation on AI-driven companies, AI-driven technologies, such as, of course, as an example, Informatica. How do you see AI technologies transforming patient care, diagnostics, and treatment planning, especially on the UK market? Are there specific applications or success stories that particularly excites you?
Yeah, this is really interesting. So at the back of so I've stepped away from Further Group in 2022 at the back of an exit. So we sold part of our company to private equity. And essentially after that, I wanted to explore new opportunities. And what I've realized all the projects that I was seeing or investments I was making, the common denominator that the common denominator of all these projects were essentially AI applications. So artificial intelligence is very much an essential part now to developing, to creating digital transformation, and this trend will continue. But what it's, how it's transforming, I think, I mean, obviously, Informatica is a great example of how you can build a long-term business focusing on sort of AI-driven solution, the kind of the digital front door, the first half mile, if you like. So obviously, and this is really interesting that Informatica has been around for 12 years, yet we're only talking about AI for past couple of years in a greater sense, because obviously we've seen advancements of OpenAI and other, and obviously acceleration of the large language models and its application. So I think AI has been around for a while, and some of the applications that already been tested and they're thriving. So obviously Informatica application in terms of providing navigation on the basis of your symptoms. I think this is paramount, and in fact, I believe an idea of a co-pilot or a triage systems and tools that the doctors or the patients have at their disposal 24/7 should be essential. So I think we're at this stage where it's becoming a necessity. It's not nice to have anymore for insurance policies or hospitals to have these tools. I think that they're essential now, and we need to wake up to that fact. So that's your first half mile. Now the next kind of big area that's been sort of developing is the imaging. So looking at because AI is very good at sort of detecting abnormalities and also just being really precise in terms of you on the pixel level. You can train the model to spot abnormalities, so spot tumors, spot different things, cells. And so I think when it comes to imaging, I think there is a big array of applications, from sort of diagnostics onto sort of analysis. Even you obviously you use tools during the treatment, so and monitoring. So I also believe that given where we are right now in the world, where we have a shortage of doctors and we have the resources are very stretched, I think healthcare is gradually going towards being delivered and administered at home. So in the future, you will be going to hospital only for absolute emergency, whereas the rest of the things will probably happen at home. And AI is very, very useful because you can make some of these solutions scalable, and you can suddenly you can start connecting the dots. You can connect the data from different devices, from different diagnostics, from different sources, so you can anticipate what's going to happen. You can monitor, you can respond to any abnormality. So I think going forward, we will be monitoring our health a lot more. There's going to be a lot more data, and that's where AI is very good. It's sort of learning from the past experience, and also building prediction. And I guess another thing that's kind of leads me on to the biotech world, which we're going to talk about in a context of LinkGevity. I think healthcare is becoming more cohesive and more integrated. I think we've had an outburst of digital solutions which were fragmented. We had different apps and different portals, and the data was fragmented different places. Now I think we are gradually coming together to make it more cohesive, so we can get the better picture of our health, and then we can anticipate. And I think that's where the real excitement comes in, where if we have all that data and we have all that knowledge, then we can instead of just firefighting or addressing diseases, we can make predictions. And I think So which is a beautiful kind of continuation in my head. You know, you start with Informatica, you know, identifying your risk factors and symptoms and trying to piece together, you know, what you may have in terms of conditions, but then eventually you almost collecting all the data and connecting sort of diseases together, and then you'll be able to predict you know, diseases in the future. And I think that's what's really exciting. That's I believe some of the biggest companies in the world in the future will be healthcare companies because of that immense potential for us to really take finally charge of our health, and starting from home, which is again unprecedented.
Great. So many examples of transforming patient care technologies. I really liked especially the two that you mentioned. Maybe not examples, but maybe visions. So Copilot providing care more safe for doctors, for nurses, for health practitioners, and the other. So maybe we can call it at-home clinics. So the place where you most likely feel safe, you feel comfortable. This should be the place where your treatment should occur. And you mentioned about revolutionizing biotechnology, and I would like to ask you about the future and how do you anticipate AI revolutionizing biotechnology? What are the potential breakthroughs or challenges you foresee, and how might this impact global healthcare delivery?
So this is a really interesting question, and this is why I decided to create another company, because I thought the potential is just immense. I mean, first things to say is I've been empowered by the fact that I could help cancer patients around the world, but I've been also frustrated by the fact that we are just firefighting a multifactorial disease. So we're intervening too late, and I think the word prevention or anticipation or disease prediction is still not on our radar, because that's the way the healthcare system is constructed with, you know, and what we need is new treatments. We need drug discovery, but the problem with drug discovery today is very costly, and it takes a long time. And again, you know, referring to the earlier remark, you know, maybe 100 years ago, we were dying of single factor diseases, infection diseases, where it was pretty simple. We got a virus and something went wrong. These days we are dying, or we're affected by diseases, cardiovascular diseases, stroke, dementia. There are multifactorial cancer. There are multifactorial diseases, which means that we need to connect the dots. So it's not just looking at one disease will give us the answer. And if you think about medicine is still being taught very singular, you know, that the cardiologist, you know, will focus just on cardiology. And there are some merit in being subspecialized, but I also think that, you know, the medicine needs to look at, you know, it needs to be looked from sort of pathway perspective, not just a siloed disease perspective. So that's where we come in. LinkGevity essentially is a fruit of 10 years of research work of my co-founder, Dr. Karina Kern, and she's developed this beautiful ontology, this blueprint theory, where she can map molecular pathways. We can connect diseases, we can look for triggered pathways, the pathways that can connect many diseases together. So in a way, and then we can also look for drugs to intervene. And our original thesis is for looking for repurposed drugs. So the drugs that already exist that could be patented for a new indication. And essentially she's been doing this in the past manually. Now with the use of AI and large language models, and you know, we can expedite that process. We can make it scalable, so we can make those connections we can use that ontology, and we can basically connect the dots together, and we can make those predictions quicker, and we can find those targets to intervene. So I think this is incredible opportunity. Streamlining the process, making more discoveries, and eventually, because we have the data, we have the tools, we can expedite that process, and so that means that we will be able to anticipate processes, diseases. So I believe right now, today, we have a discovery engine. We have some drug outputs that we're already commercializing, but I think what's very exciting is that disease prediction engine in the future, whilst when we map all the molecular pathways. And I tend to colloquially kind of refer to our mission is to create a Google Maps of molecular pathways. And so let's say if I take my example, you will be able to take my medical history or my results, my genomic data, add all these pieces together, and then you say, okay, today you're at this stage, and then you'll be taking drugs maybe in anticipation of a disease, which will meant that we can live longer, we can live better, because I think longevity, everyone talks about longevity. I think it's a beautiful concept, but it's not just about living longer. It's about living better. If we are to live to 100 or 120 or even beyond that, I think the last 10, 20, 30 years of our lives will be critical. So we are fully functional, that we are cognitive, and we have this quality of life, and that's what these discoveries will help with. So I think I'm very excited at the potential. There are some challenges there. There's still not enough money, I would say, spent on life sciences. I believe UK is becoming a champion, but I think we need a lot more. I think we need a lot more awareness. We also need a lot more sort of collaboration between life sciences and healthcare, between the doctors, hospitals, and eventually the drug discoveries. But I think this will come because what is really interesting is the speed of change right now. We are not talking years and years to come. We're talking the technology evolving so quickly, and still, the drug discovery process is lengthy, but we can streamline that process, which in the past you were waiting 15, 20 years to discover a drug. Now you can make it in a few years. You can make a very significant breakthrough, especially in areas that we haven't managed before. So I'm excited for that.
Super exciting, and cannot wait to see the future to come. Our guest today was Lukasz Rzeczkowski. Lukasz, thank you so much for joining us, and see you around.
Thank you, Michal. Have a nice day.